Hello, hello. Thank you so much for tuning into this true crime ASMR soft spoken video. Today I'm going to be doing a disappearance case. This is a disappearance case that involves, this is considered a national park, but like a hiking trail disappearance in Hawaii. This one did not get much attention. I really had to dig deep for some of this information, which is always frustrating because you want these cases to have the attention they deserve. And this is from 2015, so it's very recent, and it's kind of frustrating that there isn't enough coverage. So it's also some of the words I may have difficulty pronouncing. I apologize, I'm not native Hawaiian, so some of these words I try to look up my best to see how to pronounce them. Like I said, unfortunately with limited coverage it's hard to hear. I try to watch videos when I look up cases to get pronunciations right and hear from people, and this one was really lacking, so I apologize if I mispronounce some of these words. Okay, so we're going to be doing the disappearance of Daylenn Pua. Daylenn Pua was born around 1997, I believe, by doing the math. His nickname was Moke. So I found some information from a GoFundMe page, and I'm hoping that it's accurate, and I just wanted to get some information about him. It said that he was an inspiring pastry chef, which is so cool. He planned to attend culinary school either locally or abroad. He was defined as intelligent, well-spoken young man. His family was from South Kona, and he had 2 other siblings that attended his school. He was living on the big island of Hawaii. He attended Kula'o and Hunukia Malino, a Hawaiian immersion school. In February of 2015, he was 17 years old and a senior. The school organized a field trip to Oahu. During the field trip, he planned to stay at his grandmother's house for the weekend. On the Friday morning of February 27th, Daylenn was speaking to his grandmother, Martha Bear, about his plans for the day. He told her that he intended to go for a solo hike in the Maunalua Valley Park, specifically the Stairway of Heaven, a steep 3,922 step structure formerly used for military purposes. Martha informed him that the area was banned to the public, with authorities prohibiting anyone from hiking. The two said goodbye that morning, and he left his grandmother's home. He was wearing a white long-sleeve t-shirt, black surf shorts, slippers, and carrying a red backpack. So his grandma, of course, is thinking her grandson would listen and heed the warnings and not attempt to hike the Stairway to Heaven, knowing he could be arrested. But he's 18 years old, and he sticks to his original plan and boards a bus to bring him to Maunalua Valley Park and begins his hike up the stairway. A little background: the Haiku Stairs is a steep steel structure that provided access on foot to former U.S. Navy communication facilities. The pathway spans the mountain range, and it provides view to the top of the Kanicho as well as the Kaniho Bay. In 1942, contractors for the U.S. Navy began construction for the Haiku radio station, which would be a top secret facility that would be used to transmit radio signals to Navy ships that were operating throughout the Pacific. In order to obtain the necessary height for the antenna, the Navy had to stretch them across the valley. So they created this like wooden ladder and besides the metal steps to help develop that antenna space. The radio station was commissioned in 1943. The naval base was then decommissioned in the 1950s, and the U.S. Coast Guard used the site for an Omega navigation system station. In the mid-1950s, the wooden stairs were replaced by sections of metal steps and ramps, and the station and trails were officially closed to the public in 1987. And to the public, it was known as the Stairway to Heaven. After it being closed, it would be monitored. However, many people would still want to go and see the steel structure. It looks pretty cool, I'm not gonna lie. And especially I think because it has access to all those views, it can be very appealing to people to do this. However, the problem is, since it's not a intended hiking trail for the public, it doesn't have the setup for people to utilize this and to have a path and to, have people around. Like, it's not a good place to go, but of course for an 18-year-old it's a very appealing place to go. So around 11 a.m. he texted pictures of himself to family members and social media, indicating he was on the trail of the stairs. Later that day, he was reported missing by his grandmother when he failed to come home. A search was launched for him, focusing on the area around the stairway. The fire department, local volunteers, drone operators, as well as the U.S. Navy were involved in this extensive search, both on land and from air. The Captain Paul Brass said that, quote, "First crews were here maybe a little after 6:30 or 7 a.m., but the weather was much poorer then. It was actually raining cats and dogs, so they didn't do much. We waited till about maybe 8:30, regrouped, took the next crew, and we've been searching since then. The whole ridge of the stairs is on, we've kind of rolled out, and there's a summit trail that runs the length of the mountain. Nothing was ever discovered to lead searches to where he may have ended." The following Monday, 2 hikers came forward to say they heard cries of help in the wilderness, which extended the search for him until Tuesday, March 3rd. Despite the search being called off on the afternoon of the 3rd, family and dedicated searchers still combed through the forest in order to find him. Volunteer groups continued to search for him after both the Naval and Honolulu Fire Departments suspended their search after they scanned the area for 5 days. The volunteer groups rappelled 600 feet below the cliffs at the end of the trail. This was the area where he had last taken his picture. His father said his son was an experienced hiker and was never gone missing before. He said, quote, "I'm doing strong, thinking he stay up there and he's all right, hoping they can find him before anything else happens," he says. The family then extensively studied the 4 photos that he had taken for clues to what may have happened to him. Each photo being either the stairway or the surrounding scenery. Upon further inspection of the photos, they discovered a man seemingly lurking in the bushes a distance away from Daylenn. This man was barely visible, but enhanced and zoomed in photos do show what appears to be a man crouching down. Family believes that this man may have been following him, causing his sudden disappearance. It is unclear who the man in the photo was and what his purpose of being at the stairway was. Whether it was just another hiker relieving himself in the bushes, or if he was watching and following Daylenn with ill intent, or maybe he just happened to be another hiker in the area. The family asks the public help in recognizing the man in the photo, hoping that he may have more hints that could lead to the area he was in, or what happened, or where he was heading. So this case has not been resolved yet, and that is all the information. The person in the picture could not be identified, and no other clues of location or remains have been found. Daylenn is 5'7" and weighs 150 pounds. Anyone with information about his whereabouts is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 955-8300. So like I said, there's just a lack of attention in this case. I had a really hard time searching the details. I did see a GoFundMe page that closed down, and I did see a petition for the, I believe the mayor to reopen and help add additional searches, and that was also, I think, signed and kind of closed off too. There was a Facebook group, but that one I think was limited, so it was a very private group. But other than that, there really wasn't much. I think the main belief is that unfortunately he had an accident while on the trail which caused an injury or death, and they just weren't able to locate his remains. The only other theory is that possibly this man seen in the photograph may have had something to do with the disappearance. Now I saw on Reddit, and I know we're gonna remember it's Reddit, so we really need to take this with a grain of salt. There was this guy who commented and said, just to shed some light on this, the guy in the picture is a good friend of mine. And he did call the police when finding out that he was missing, so there's no creepy mountain man, just a pure luck that he came across the corner the second that he took a picture. Which, someone else commented, was like, how do you know it's your friend if you can barely see his picture? And it's also like, who knows, but, again, it kind of shows that, this could just be a coincidence. I never saw any news source or any other indication that this man has been identified or did contact the police, which it's a little weird to me that someone wouldn't come forward and say, hey, that was me, I was on the trail taking a shit or something, just something to kind of clarify and give any information. But many believe that maybe he didn't come forward due to being involved, or just not wanting to get in trouble for being on the trail, which I really hope that wouldn't happen if you came forward in this circumstance. But it may be another teenager, so overall this is just a really sad case. He was 18, he was so young, and you just want the families to get closure in these cases. It seems like any kind of case that comes from the national park or any kind of hiking trail rarely gets the closure that is so needed, unfortunately. And I think it always leaves those big what if. Of course, I think the other theory is always aliens, but so yeah, this is a case again. I wish I had more information. And I hope that this family gets some closure and answers. But okay, so just a quick one. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a good day or good night wherever you are. And I will see you in my next video.